Hey, do you remember those two NASA scientists that got stranded on the ISS last summer? If not, understandable. There's been a lot of news since then. But we have an update that they're coming home very soon. Hello, my name is Zeta. This is my physics degree. Let's talk about it. So these are Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore. They originally arrived on the ISS June 5th of last year, and they were only supposed to be there for an 8-day trip. The goal of this trip was to test the spaceworthiness of the Boeing Starliner spacecraft. The conclusion of this test is that it was not good. It took several weeks of tests and conversations between Boeing and NASA, but it was ultimately decided that NASA thought it would be a bigger risk to Williams and Wilmore to bring them back on that Boeing spacecraft than to have them just join the next crew. So that's exactly what happened. After deciding that the Boeing spacecraft was not safe to carry humans, it was sent back to Earth with no crew, but it did contain the seats that were supposed to be used to keep Williams and Wilmore safe on re-entry. So when you go into space and when you come back from space, there is an insane amount of turbulence. Like, imagine the worst turbulence you could possibly think of for a plane, crank it up to 11, and you are almost there. So those specially designed seats for those astronauts to keep them as safe as possible during those transition periods were now back on Earth, which means there was no longer a safe way for them to come back until September of last year. In September, a spacecraft that was originally supposed to be carrying 4 astronauts went up to the ISS with only 2 astronauts and seats designed specifically for Williams and Wilmore to be safe upon re-entry. The mission is called Expedition 72. Williams actually became the commander of this mission. It studied pharmaceutical manufacturing, genetics and microgravity, life support in advanced settings, and several other smaller experiments. It was planned to run from September of last year to spring of this year, and that crew will be coming home early next week. There's a crew going up. They'll be launching at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, docking with the ISS tomorrow morning, and they will then spend a few days on the ISS together for the new crew to be trained by the old crew, and all 4 of Crew 9, including Sunita Williams and Barry Wilmore, will be coming back to Earth possibly as early as Sunday, but likely sometime early next week. And now, unfortunately, due to the state of the United States, I will be discussing politics and conspiracy theories to some extent. I know that isn't what most people come to a science communicator for, so if that's not your vibe, scroll now. So, President Donald Trump has stated that the Biden administration specifically stranded Williams and Wilmore on the ISS for the political gain somehow. I'm not sure. His sugar daddy, top advisor, Elon Musk, seconded what Trump said. Allegedly, Elon went to the Biden administration directly and said, hey, I can bring him home. He told them this months ago, and he was rejected. According to the Washington Post and NPR, that never happened. The NASA officials that they interviewed said they never heard anything about it. Which means there are 2 potential things that happened. Either Elon lied, or he spoke to people who actually have absolutely nothing to do with NASA. Because the president can sign off on, finances, but they don't run NASA. So those are potential 2 options. But regardless, the conspiracy theory side of this is that there was some reason to leave them up there for political gain. I don't know what the political gain could have been to leave them up there, but I do know that it was decided relatively early on that it would make the most sense for them to simply join the next expedition, put their special seats into the ship that was supposed to bring the next crew up anyway, and just have them stay. rushing things in space is usually how you end up killing people. So, two NASA scientists who went on an expedition to decide if a spacecraft was actually space worthy, found out that it wasn't, were added to the following mission and are now coming home at a time that was planned for them during the Biden administration. So it probably isn't Trump and Elon making it so that they can come home. I know it is a SpaceX spacecraft, but again, NASA coordinated with them because they decided that Boeing wasn't reliable. So there's really not much of a conspiracy theory to find, but of course, everything sounds like a conspiracy theory if you don't know how it works and if you don't know how to find sources that you can trust.